Good evening, Kenton community. My name is Sabatino Samato. I'm your superintendent, and this is your weekly connection update. A high overview of the connection this week. In my section, we talk a little bit about the corporate challenge just happened yesterday. Then we get into our safety and security challenges. I gave an update about this on Tuesday evening at the board meeting. I wanted to dig even a little bit deeper today. Then we get into our attendance campaign update, Kenmore West Corridor of Honor inductees, and safety tips for families, all under my section. Then we dig a little bit deeper into school and district highlights, and we finish off with our recognition. Let's go and talk more in depth about the connection this week. First, the corporate challenge. Folks, I can't tell you how proud of our staff that I am. We look at the corporate challenge as a way to come together, really have that camaraderie, and also represent Kenton. And we had over 160 participants. We were, out of the 200 organizations that were there, we were one of the sixth largest groups that were in the competition yesterday. I was so proud of all of our staff. And we can't do it without people who are willing to sponsor us. We have organizations, I've listed them there. They were just wonderful in sponsoring and making sure that all of our people could come together, from t-shirts to food and drinks that were there on that hot, wonderful, sunny afternoon at the corporate challenge yesterday afternoon. Thank you to all of our Kenton staff. Then we get into safety and security challenges. And folks, we talked a little bit about start and end times at this last board meeting. Now, nothing has been decided yet, but I want to talk to you about what we've been discussing for the last several months here in Kenton. We talked about some of these challenges and how can we fix them. Let me list just some of the challenges. For example, challenge: limited time to implement our daily open gate screenings at high school. And we want to have open gate regularly during the 25-26 school year. Folks, we have students arriving even before our teachers do at the high school level. So that's a challenge. Significant safety concerns and inconveniences for families, neighbors, teachers, our administrators at our complexes of Hoover and Franklin. Now, let me tell you one of the reasons why this exists. Our two largest transportation cohorts are elementary and middle school. We all know, we can anticipate why it's smaller at high school. Less kids want to ride the bus, and they let their parents know that. But elementary and middle are absolutely the largest. And in the afternoon, they are actually butted up right against each other. Elementary is our last, middle is our middle, and then we start our afternoon with high school. Now, if we could take one of those two largest and move them in the first place position in the afternoon in the place of high school and put high school in the middle, it would help that complex congestion to an extent. What else do we have? Elementary students, because of that congestion that happens, it often makes buses late for elementary students, especially during those colder months. And our kiddos at elementary are getting home later and later. And we know how dark it gets, how early it gets dark in those winter months. We also, coaches and our high school sports. Not all the coaches are stationed at their high schools. Some of them, as a matter of fact, come from the middle schools. So if middle school actually dismissed prior to high school, it might alleviate the challenge of kids having to wait for coaches to arrive. That supervision that we're going to have to provide for students who are waiting for coaches, you're understanding where I'm going. It just might be a little smoother of a transition. Tutoring and academic intervention for high school. We have a wonderful model now where kids can stay after school during the week, really from 2:30 to 3:05, and teachers sometimes stay even later. But we looked at, well, maybe all kids can't stay after school. Maybe if we had a little bit of time in the morning and a little bit of time in the afternoon, it might be even more conducive to providing some extra help. So maybe we would be able to accomplish that. And the order of afternoon dismissal, I already spoke about that. I really think you can understand. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if our buses could show up at one of those two larger sites, middle or elementary, as the first afternoon stop, That means those buses can be lined up at the school before dismissal even happens. We get one of the largest groups out of the school and back to their homes, and then go to their middle, the smallest of the runs in the middle. So this is the conversation that's been happening. Our best thinking about it right now is that we would do a flip-flop. Our first run in the afternoon would be middle school, and our second run would be high school. Our last run would remain elementary. So in other words, that would change a little bit of our times. High school would actually start and end 39 minutes later. Middle school would start and end 21 minutes earlier. And that shift, I know it's a lot for families to hear and to prepare for. And folks, like I said, no decision has fully been made yet. We want to make sure before we jump into it, everything really looks like it's going to be the most beneficial for our students, our families, as well as our staff and our neighbors. So more to come. I promise you, any type of announcement that's going to be made about this will be made before the end of this school year. And if we're not going to move forward, I will tell you in the connection we're not going to move forward. If we are, then this would be the model that we would be looking at. So that gives everyone at least a little bit more time to prepare for next year. Our next section we go into is our attendance campaign. And really, Edison at the elementary, you're cleaning up a lot. You got to retain that trophy for the second week in a row, and you've had that trophy a lot during this campaign. Franklin, I know they took it away from you, and you're going to be vying to take it back. Talking about middle school last week, Franklin reclaimed that trophy from Hoover. So Franklin Middle got it. Franklin Elementary lost it last week. You know what they're going to be trying to do next week. And then Kenmore Junior Senior, they reclaimed the trophy for those high schools and the attendance challenge. Then we go to the next piece under my section, and it's the Kenmore West Corridor of Honor inductees. And folks, there were 3 of them this year, very special individuals. Our board president, Matt Chimera, class of 1974, deputy county executive who also happens to be a partner to Mr. Chimera, husband and wife duo going in to the Corridor of Honor. That might be the first time that's ever happened, at least in the same year. Lisa Chimera also got inducted from the class of 1984. And then also a wonderful, wonderful gentleman, Gary Bickler, from the class of 1970. Just tremendous people that were inducted into that Corridor of Honor. Safety tips for families. Folks, we go into about really looking at the weather. I know it's been so slow to change, but some things that parents should look at and, factors, especially when factors combine, humidity with heat and UV indexes. And we have a little chart there, a link that can bring you to a resource that really helps parents to understand should kiddos be outside today? What should they be doing? How much should they be hydrating? So check out that resource that we put in there. Now we get to our school and district highlights. District Leadership Council visits Aqua Lane Park to plan future improvements. 34 athletes sign intent to compete in college. Kenmore West seniors return to elementary and middle school buildings for senior walk. Organizations come together to donate bicycles for students. Kenmore West wins first place at Darien Lake Music Festival. Kenmore West student earns prestigious German scholarship. Science educator brings engaging experiments to Hoover Middle School. Edison students observe the life cycle of butterflies and frogs. Big picture 7th graders serve as tour guides at Darwin Martin House. Kenmore West IB students coordinate elementary school and theater events. And last but not least, Kiwanis Club to host golf tournament to raise money for scholarships. And that brings us to the recognition this week. And folks, listen to what our kiddos and our staff do in this circumstance. We are talking about donating blood to help save lives. And a real special congratulations to 3 individuals: Kenmore West math teacher Kimberly Mahoney, Kenmore West PE teacher Leanne Schmitz, and Kenmore East special education teacher Remy St. George. Folks, these people always organize, working with Connect Life, blood drives at our buildings. Kids 16 years and older donate. Our staff donate. Listen to this number. 189 units of blood during the in-school blood drives this year, which was enough to impact 567 lives in Western New York. And folks, we can't ask for anything better than that. Our kids giving, our staff giving to always help others in the community. That's the Kenton way. That really brings us to the end of the connection. And enough said. There's so many balls in the air. A lot going on with graduations just around the corner. Kenmore East prom this evening with post-prom to follow. All of these different events. Flag Day happened at so many buildings today. Really, folks, try and enjoy these last few weeks because there's so much going on in Kenton. Kenmore Days this weekend. Really enjoy it with your families because that family time together is what makes us Kenton proud, Kenton strong, and helps us to move Kenton forward. Thank you very much and have a wonderful weekend.